Hello, everyone. So for this meditation, you can set aside your mind because you are not the mind. The recollections, the personal interests, they relate to the body. They relate to the functioning of the organism. You can set that aside for now. And notice what remains. It's always there. The background of awareness. And there is no background and no foreground in reality. Simply rest as you are. Being doesn't need anything, doesn't necessitate anything, doesn't require anything for you to be, since you already are. Allow the sensation of your body to expand. We can let go of the imaginary borders because there are no borders. There are no dividing, no demarcation lines. In presence. There is only presence. Which is you, your reality. The only you there is this borderless presence. Unopposed. Complete of and by itself. Not seeking completion of any form. So you can allow yourself to be like a leaf, gently carried by the wind. Or a wave carried by the current. Carelessly free. No opposition. So you can sink deeply into your true nature, into the peace and recognize yourself as that causeless peace. nothing to do. That which you are, this transparent, aware presence, is undisturbable by events in the world, events in the body. Passing thoughts. Dreamlike. Notice that we hear this voice, these sounds, this vibration. It appears to you effortlessly. Nothing is happening to you. There is something happening with the body, with vibration in the eardrum. But nothing is happening to you. There may be various activities in the brain, neurons firing, neuronic activity. But nothing is happening to you. You are this invisible, undeniable awareness, presence. As presence, there is nothing you need to do. You don't need to retain anything, figure anything out. no concerns, no worries. Notice that as soon as you refer to yourself as a person, a limited entity with a personal history, you experience a sense of limitation, a certain contraction, some form of worry, concern, fear. But you are not a limited consciousness, a personal, limited entity. Such thoughts and beliefs appear to you. It's only when you choose to say, yes, I am this person born in time and space, that you will perceive yourself as a mortal entity, full of struggles, but when you notice that option presenting itself to you, I am this woman, I am this man, I am born. When you notice this option and you don't go for it, at that instant, effortlessly, you are your true self. by not choosing the option of I am this person, how dare you speak to me this way? All is well. Notice how often you choose the option. Yes, I am somebody. I mean, a mother, a daughter, a father, a son. Notice in your life how often you choose this option. Sometimes it's necessary to be a mother or a father. But notice how often you choose this option when it's not necessary, when it's not required. Choosing a religious identification, a political nationality. Notice how you make these choices. And then you get wrapped up in your feelings, wrapped up in bodily sensation and thoughts and confusion. Life is your playground. And it is the realm which is available to you to realize in true essence which is always on board. The reality which hears these words is the reality which you seek, which is seeking itself. You veil yourself from yourself, and you unveil yourself from yourself. You are never not here. You are never absent. So if you have any questions, there is a reaction button at the lower part of the screen. You're welcome to raise your hand or unmute yourself. Any questions?
Hi, Maggie, it's Janet.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that beautiful sharing. And, you know, I've been feeling so much freedom lately, such joy. And when you were talking about that leaf just playing in the current, that's so lovely. And then, you know, you mentioned something about that word realm. And maybe you could expand more on your meaning of realm, because I know it's I know it's not a place, you know. And but does it mean experiencing? That word realm, is it experiencing?
You know, I forgot how I used the word in this meditation. Maybe somebody can remind me. Can somebody remind me how I use that term? Otherwise, I could speak about what the word realm refers to freshly right now. For example, you could say that, just as a way of speaking, there is the realm of thinking, the realm of thoughts. There is the realm of perceptions, perceiving the world. And there is the realm of sensations in the body and various inner sensations. But it's a theoretical division because it's like taking a map and saying, okay, there is the north, the south, the east and the west, but in fact, it's all one map. So all realms are just theoretical and conceptual. For example, you could say there is the realm of the dream realm, and there is the waking state, the waking realm. But these are theoretical divisions, they're mental divisions, they're conceptual divisions. Because our experience is continuous. We don't experience dreams in a different way that we experience the waking state. We don't experience a dream differently from the way we're experiencing this experience right now. There is a thought that arises that says, oh, the dream state is different from the waking state. But that thought is just making a conceptual distinction, because we're always experiencing the same experience, always, which is awareness, consciousness, presence. So I don't remember how I use the term realm in the meditation. If somebody remembers, they can tell me. But this is my reply to your question right now.
Well, I think you put it in a context like choosing a realm, choosing a realm. But it seems to me that there's no one that I'm not choosing. I'm not choosing anything.
Of course you are.
Am I?
Of course, there is no other chooser. You think there is somebody else choosing, outside of you? Who would that be? What would that be? You are the only chooser. You're the one who chooses ignorance, or you're the one who chooses not to write.
Okay.
Not to jump on that boat.
I get what you're saying. Yes. Now I understand what you're saying. Okay.
There's only one chooser, which is consciousness, which is the only reality there is.
Yes, that's what I feel. Yes.
Yeah, so we start with, there is obviously a reality, whatever that is. And in terms of chooser, if there is any real or true chooser, it can only be reality itself choosing. And we know experientially that which is changeless in our experience is consciousness, awareness, the invisible reality which perceives, which is I, that we refer to as I. So yes, that is the one and only chooser, one and only reality.
So that is the realm. Consciousness is the realm.
Again, the word realm, maybe I used it poetically, or I don't know how I used it in the meditation, but the word realm, you have to keep in mind that if there is only one reality, there's only one realm. If you want to use the term realm, you could substitute the word realm for the word reality, as long as what matters is that you stick with the one. There's only one. And so my reality, or my realms, and the reality of the universe, of the world, of minds, of the cosmos, that realm and my realm are one realm, one reality.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you.
Any questions? Any questions?
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Richard.
How are you? Just because it was just briefly discussed. Could you say more about choice? Because I have a lot of back and forth on that idea myself.
Yes. So one thing we need to understand when we speak about choice, we're not referring to somebody going to a supermarket full of various shelves and various goods and choosing, filling their cart with various objects. It's not like that. We're talking about creation. In this moment, there is this experience, which is this perception, let's say, which has never appeared before. It's 1,000% fresh, has never existed before, and is not, you cannot duplicate it because it's gone and there is a new perception, moment by moment, which we can refer to as creation. That reality, which is the changeless aspect of our experience, which is consciousness, the invisible, aware presence, reality is also creative. There is one aspect of reality, which is the stillness, the emptiness, the beingness. And the other aspect of this reality is creation, perceptions, sensations, and infinite other creations that our puny mind, human mind, has no access to. Now, in terms of choice, in ignorance, there is this belief that there is a person, there is some sort of personal chooser, some sort of character somewhere, maybe inside the brain or behind the eyes or somewhere, who makes choices. But when you examine that, you don't choose your thoughts. They appear to you, one could say, out of the universe. They just appear to you. Given that you don't choose your thoughts, you don't also choose the weather. You don't choose the sensations in your body, you perceive them. Now, therefore, you can come to the conclusion that my experiences arise out of the cosmos, but they don't arise out of a personal character who's going to the supermarket to pick up the thoughts or the ideas, or who is fabricating them in the factories somewhere out there. And there is no such a character. There is no such activity. And yet, there is obviously perceptions, sensations, and thoughts. When you contemplate that the reality which perceives and that which is perceived are not two. In other words, this reality which hears these words right now, are not at a distance from that which you perceive. You're not at a distance from your experience. That consciousness, the reality which perceives, and that which is perceived are not two. which opens for you the possibility to explore and comprehend that the reality of consciousness, which is invisible, non-phenomenal, noumenal, and yet undeniable, and the various changing forms of perceptions, sensations, and thoughts, given that they are not two, one is the reality of the other. The changeless is the reality of the changing. But given they are not two, you are at the edge of exploring the notion that all manifestation, everything which is perceived, experienced, sensed, has its source in the changeless, because they are not two. And given that there is one reality, that leads you to the possibility of contemplating that it is that one noumenal, non-phenomenal, invisible reality, and yet undeniable reality, which creates and perceives. It is not choosing out of a library of choices, but in every instant, in every moment, it is choosing this particular choice, creating, conceiving it, creating it, and perceiving it outside of time. And it is this, the reality that perceives and that is, which right now is hearing these words, is you. It's not some reality out there, you know, in the cosmos, beyond, somewhere beyond, behind the clouds, or in other dimensions. This reality is the reality that right now perceives, is and perceives. And it's you. It's you reality. It is this very reality, which is you, which chooses the ignorance. It creates ignorance and chooses it, creates it by, in the moment it chooses it, it's creating it. It chooses I am, or this limited person outside. As it chooses it, it experiences it. It perceives it, feels it, senses it via its creation of a human organism, which is a sensory medium, the reality of which is consciousness itself. It's like in your night dreams. Out of your dream mind, you create various forms. You may create a crowd of people, or you may create two friends talking with each other. You identify yourself, for example, with one of the characters. we experience in your night dream that you are this first person and you're experiencing not just the first person, but also the second person, thoughts about the other. All of which are moment by moment, your creation and your experience.
When I think of the word choice, I mean, it seems to imply like an either or, like this or that, this option, this possibility. Is that misleading, or is that kind of what we're talking about?
You have to understand again that there are no problems. All is well as it is. So we could say all is well as it is. But that will not satisfy. It won't satisfy you. Because you are interested in comprehending, in understanding, not simply in taking this a truth that you haven't understood and using that truth, which is not yours, as a substitute for your understanding. Now, it's important to understand that your understanding is the understanding of consciousness. It is you as consciousness which want to comprehend, you want to understand. Why do you want to understand? Because what you're trying to understand is not how a diesel engine works. You want to understand truth. You want to understand something about consciousness. You want to understand something about understanding itself. You want to understand understanding itself. Why? It's out of your freedom, because this game is a fascinating game. It has in it a lot of goodies. It has in it tremendous fear and worry. It has in it birth and death. It has in it joy and depression and anger and gain and loss. It's a very juicy, rich game. So why do we speak of choosing as if there is a choice? We only speak about choosing in order to point to the belief in a separate choosing. In the absence of the belief in separation, in the absence of the sense of me and the belief that I'm somebody, heck, who cares? Life is going on, you know? All is well, right? I mean, I wake up, there's hunger, I eat, there's a need to make some money, I go to work or I figure a way. In the absence of believing, of the belief in separation, in the absence of the belief in a separate entity, or a limited self, or a limited consciousness, we don't need to have the conversation about choice, because everything is happening just fine. Everything is being, it's not like you want something to be different. Who is it that wants something to be different? We want something to be different because we believe that it's better for, if things were different, we would be happier. We would be wealthier, healthier, whatever. But what does this mean? It's the feeling and the belief that I'm a separate person, separate consciousness, a limited consciousness, and the world is out there, and I need to make sure that things line up correctly for me. So you are right in your question, like, what is this choosing, you know, because it's not like there is a choice. You are right. There is no choice. There is no choice, and there is no, it doesn't mean determinism. I don't mean that, okay, well, no, I don't mean that, because we are the creator. There is no creator, there's no creator out there. That we choose as consciousness. Once consciousness, in the moment of understanding, consciousness is choosing consciousness. At the moment of understanding, there is no good or bad choice, it's all good. In the moment of understanding about consciousness, the good and the bad cease to function and operate and have any significance. The better and the worst, the unhappy and the happy, these oppositions cease to operate.
That does make a lot of sense, and I don't know if this is too abstract. This other question that kind of came up, because it doesn't really matter, I guess. But is it what's unfolding? Because I understand why you caution against determinism, because like the idea can come up. You know, is what's unfolding just unfolding as it has to? Or is there an element of, and consciousness is aware of what's unfolding as it has to, or is there an element of, I mean, you're saying there's an element of choice, which is why it's not determinism, but maybe.
But it's not a choice in time.
Okay.
It's a timeless choice. And the choice, you know, in the timeless choice, the eternal choice, is always one choice, which is consciousness. It is consciousness. It doesn't matter the movement, what form the movement of consciousness takes. You know, in the repose, in the restful aspect of consciousness is always the choice of consciousness. But in the understanding about consciousness, the movement aspect of consciousness is consciousness itself. Now, does it have to be the way it is? For whom? I mean, let's say you knock on God's door, say, hey, God, this is what you're creating right now. Do you have to create it this way? Would you ask God that? No, because God is complete freedom. I'm using this metaphoric, religious language, but without the religious intonation. I'm just using the term God. It's complete freedom. Consciousness is complete freedom. Because it's one reality. There's no opposition. There's nothing opposing you. There's no opposition. So do you have to? No, you don't. No, you don't. There's no have to when it comes to one reality. And creation, because creation is not in time, the impression of time is the result of thought and perception. But creation itself, it doesn't occur inside of thought. It's not in the realm of thought. Thought is subject to creation. Creation is not subject to thought. In other words, thought does not create. Thought is created. So creation is not in time. And because it is not in time, then everything which is created is co-created. It is not a sequence. There isn't a sequence of creation. The sequence is a model, a thought model that models perceptions and models events. This event occurred before that event or after that event. It's a thought model, a mind model.
There's a truth to it. There's a truth to it, but it's not the full scope. In the sense,
All models rely on mind, rely on thought. And there is an element of creativity and genius in the realm of conception, the realm of ideas. So there is inspiration in the realm of models and ideas about the world. But any conception about consciousness is not possible, because only understanding about consciousness reveals any aspect of consciousness, reveals consciousness. But concepts about the world and ideas about the world. And in some cases, be inspired by a higher form of understanding or insight. Francis often talks about the mathematical models and geometrical models, but I cannot talk with much knowledge about that. I sort of have a sense of that, but I cannot say much more about it.
No, I thank you very much. I think I've kind of drifted from my question. In my original question, everything you said was very, very helpful. So thank you very much, Magdi.
Okay, Richard. Any questions?
Hi, Magdi.
Hey, Mark, hello.
Hello. Howdy.
It's,
I've been something's kind of stuck with this with the limited mark. The notion of I'm trying to get there's a way in which I'm seeing this contrast between what I'll call love and sentimentality. Not here. I'm not talking about within the Sanghas and my other experiences. So, yeah, I feel like there's been a way in which people kind of masquerade, use sentimentality to kind of as a masquerades as love.
Mhm.
And I guess I'll give you another little bit of context for this is, and I can't remember exactly how he said it, but once somebody asked Francis a question about when to oppose someone else's viewpoint. And I can't remember exactly all of it, but he was talking about if someone is infringing on your freedom, and he probably didn't use these exact words, but if someone's trying to kind of bottle you up or make you into a little person somehow from their viewpoint, and that mixes to me with the notion of sentimentality, which I've experienced in my life as something that's felt like in some way it was a restriction. It was a way of trying to define me as a smaller entity or as a limited entity, rather than, I think that it's hard to talk about love. I know or it is for me. But the other side of that is somebody's just giving you the space to be completely who you are, I guess. And that's probably that's all I can say about it, I guess. I don't know if that's too jumbled to even respond to, but there it is. Sentimentality versus love, I guess, is where I'm going with it. Because we can be kind to people. I mean, certainly we can allow people to be, we're playing our roles, we have our limited identities, and we don't need to be unkind with anyone. But there are times when it seems like there are times when it seems like we need to set somebody straight, I guess is the way to say it. But it may be in a nice way, in a kind way, but anyway, there it is. Was that too much noise?
In love, there is freedom. there isn't a mold that you need to fit into. Nor do you try to impose on others your ideas, your feelings, your beliefs. You're not molding the others either. So in love, you're honoring your freedom and you recognize your freedom and the freedom of the other as the same freedom, equal, completely. And there is a spontaneity in relationship. When the relationships are relationships of love.
I missed the word, Magdi.
There is a spontaneity.
Oh, spontaneity. Got it.
Spontaneity.
Yes.
And it's joyful. It's a joyful. I'm not talking about jumping up and down or being the flower people. No, there's a sweet, joyful aspect in interaction in a community of friends. And above all, the way you participate without judgment, without truest, without like a personal intention about you. Childlike, innocent-like. And also without judging yourself, because there is no required way for you to be not being imposed by yourself. You're not imposing upon yourself a certain way of being or a certain inner judgment. And hopefully, in a community of friends, the others are not imposing on you their ideas, their judgment. So in a loving relationship, there is love and freedom. There is no judgment. There's a freedom to explore, to sometimes we make mistake, big deal. You know, we say something that is misunderstood, or maybe we misunderstood something somebody said, and we may express ourselves in a way that doesn't resonate with what the other person meant. So we realize that, or we don't. When we realize that, we can apologize. Or
It's I appreciate what you're saying already. It's giving it's what we say, it's a little bit liberating, you know, it's a little bit of an opening where, now I can't remember your exact words, but maybe when we're talking about not judging, a childlike kind of approach, and more allowing, not judging the self. Those are helpful.
now in a community where the sentimentality aspect that you brought up, then there is some sort of a group thing with sentimentality. There is sort of we need to all feel in a certain way about something. What about a teacher or about what we need. And so the sentimentality wave, you have to sort of be in harmony with the sentimentality wave of the group. And there's no freedom in that. It is more of a conformism. And there is a certain naivete about sentimentality, which has nothing to do with understanding, you see. Sentimentality is still a certain position we are taking about something or about somebody. And it's a sentimental position, which has nothing to do with love and freedom. In love and freedom, there is no position, because there is nobody taking a position. I don't care too much for sentimentality. I'm not too much of a sentimental guy. Sometimes I have a tendency towards sweetness, maybe, but not sentimentality. I have a sweetness.
I just feel like I've been in lots of circumstances where sentimentality has been something that has bent the truth a little. Maybe not, totally wrecked it, but just kind of distorted, can distort. And then, but the other side I'm trying to balance within myself is, don't be unkind, right? I don't want to be harsh. I don't want to, shake somebody up with something that's closer to the facts. But so it's I guess it's a balance.
Yeah, I mean, we allow. I mean, people are where they're at. In that's the game that consciousness is playing. So it's all perfect and it's all fine. Now, sometimes we do have certain moments of feelings of affection towards a friend, towards a teacher, or feelings of love may arise. Certain.
Well, that's what. Yeah, I mean, I understand. That's where it's more love than sentimentality. I understand. I get that one. Yeah. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I am defining sentimentality as a certain emotional position that someone is taking towards something or towards somebody, and they love that emotive position. That's how I'm perceiving sentimentality, as being a personal, emotional position towards something or somebody. It has nothing to do with understanding love or freedom or truth. And it's okay. I mean, sentimentality game, people feel good being sentimental and having these emotions about certain topics, certain things, certain teachers or whatever. That's this is just a different tune, you know.
Could I say something about sentimentality?
Yes, yes, good.
Lynn.
Yes. All right, good. We are in agreement. We are one in agreement. Okay. Very lovely to be with you all. You know, Lynn, Holger and Doug. And Lolita
Don't put this on the internet, okay?
Don't worry. Richard, Mark, Holly, Shiva, hi, John, and say Deep, and my sweetheart. Lovely to be with you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.